There is a kind of power that doesn't announce itself. It doesn't scream. It doesn't rush. It doesn't seek attention. This power moves silently, watches without flinching, and speaks only when it must. It exists in those who do not beg the world for validation, in those who can sit in silence without needing to fill the void with noise. True power, real, enduring power, emerges from calmness, not passivity, not laziness, but a cold, precise stillness that allows you to see what others miss. While the world burns in its own chaos, while people scramble and react, the calm man waits, he listens, he lets others reveal their intentions. In the quiet, he sees the angles, he reads the room, and when the moment comes, he strikes with the precision of someone who never once lost control. Control is not about having a firm grip on everything around you. It's about mastering everything within you, your emotions, your impulses, your reactions. The man who can't control his temper, who can't resist the urge to defend his pride, is already a puppet in someone else's game. But the one who remains unreadable, who lets the provocations fall flat against his calm exterior, is untouchable. His silence is a weapon, his stillness a strategy. In a world that thrives on emotional chaos, your ability to remain grounded becomes your greatest defense and your sharpest blade. People don't know what to do with someone they can't manipulate. They grow frustrated, they become desperate, and in that desperation, they reveal everything you need to know. The world constantly pressures you to respond, to react, to be visible, to prove yourself. But every time you bite the bait, you become predictable. Predictability is weakness. It gives others a blueprint of how to move you, how to trap you, how to win. But the man who is unpredictable, who doesn't move with the rhythm they expect, holds the advantage. He plays a deeper game, one that isn't about ego or appearances but outcomes. He doesn't need the applause. He doesn't need to be understood. He needs results, and he gets them because he refuses to be ruled by emotion, by impulse, by noise. Instead, he operates from silence, from patience, from clarity. Every move is deliberate, every word calculated, nothing is wasted, nothing is rushed. To get to this place, you have to kill your need to be liked. You have to bury your need to be understood. People will call you cold, let them. People will call you distant, let them. You are not made to please them. You are made to win the battles they don't even see coming. They will confuse your calmness for weakness. Let them. Let them think they have the upper hand, because while they're burning themselves out, you are conserving energy. While they talk, you are watching. While they expose themselves, you remain hidden. The advantage is always yours when you let them come to you, when you let them reveal their hands first, when you let them break themselves against the wall of your restraint. But this restraint doesn't come naturally. It must be forged. It's a discipline. You will want to react. You will feel the fire rise in your chest, but you must hold, you must breathe, you must step back and ask yourself, what does this moment require? Is it noise, or is it silence? Is it action, or is it patience? 9 times out of 10, the answer is less than you think. Because in that quiet space, you realize something. Most people destroy themselves. You don't need to do much. You just need to not get in your own way. You just need to let them implode, let them wear themselves out chasing your attention, your reaction, your validation. And when they do, you are still there. Still watching, still unmoved. The calm man is not a pacifist. He is not passive. He is calculating. He is precise. He is willing to burn down a kingdom if it serves his end, but he will do it with a match, not a tantrum. He will do it after everyone else has shown their hand, because his power is not in force. It's in timing, and timing is everything in business, in war, in life. The one who controls when and how the battle begins has already won half the fight. But you only get that kind of control when you're calm, when you can delay gratification, when you can resist the bait, when you can stay quiet in a room full of noise. Silence becomes your shield, not because you have nothing to say, but because you don't waste your words. Every time you speak, it's on purpose. Every time you move, it's with intent. And because of that, people listen, people watch, because they know you don't move without reason. You become a mystery, and mystery is magnetic. Mystery is leverage. When people don't know what you're thinking, they guess, and when they guess, they slip. That's where you win, not by overpowering them, but by outlasting them, outthinking them, by letting their own emotions destroy their judgment while you sit in stillness. This kind of mental dominance does not come from arrogance. It comes from discipline, from mastering the chaos within yourself first. You must become immune to offense, immune to praise, immune to distraction. Not numb-aware, sharply aware, but not reactive. There's a difference. The reactive man is a slave. He is a puppet pulled by the strings of other people's expectations. But the composed man is free. He chooses when and how to engage. He chooses who is worth his energy. Most are not. Most are noise, and he knows that. So he lets them pass. And because of that, he wins over and over again, quietly, strategically. While others are busy proving themselves, he is positioning himself. While others are arguing, he is learning. While others are rushing in, he is setting traps, because he knows that victory doesn't go to the loudest. It goes to the one who lasts, and the one who lasts is the one who doesn't burn himself out with every emotional impulse. The one who can wait, the one who can endure, the one who can see 10 moves ahead while everyone else is stuck in the moment. Calmness is not a gift, it's a weapon forged in silence, in solitude, in the decision to master yourself before trying to master the world. Most people will never get there. They are too reactive, too emotional, too desperate to be seen. But you can be different. You can choose the harder path, the colder path, the path of control, and on that path you will find power. Not the loud, shaky kind, but the quiet, unshakable kind, the kind that doesn't need to shout, the kind that doesn't need to explain, the kind that simply exists and dominates. The world does not reward those who cry the loudest. It does not pause for pain. It does not soften its blow because you're tired or scared or confused. It moves on relentlessly without apology, and that is its greatest lesson. Because once you stop expecting the world to be fair, once you strip yourself of that illusion, you gain clarity. You begin to understand that power is not given, it is taken. You don't get to rise by asking nicely. You rise by refusing to be buried. The ones who survive are not the loudest. They're not the ones who scream at the heavens, demanding change. They are the ones who adapt in silence, who move with precision, who calculate every step like warlords navigating a battlefield. Their calm is not weakness, it's a weapon, because in a world that feeds off chaos, your calmness is resistance. It is control, and control is everything. You see, chaos is the most common currency now. Look around. People thrive on drama, on outrage, on attention. They scream about justice while craving validation. They pretend to fight for causes when in truth they just want to be seen. But the man who is truly dangerous doesn't seek to be seen. He seeks to be understood by no one. He moves like a shadow, deliberate, unfazed, untouched by the hysteria that consumes the masses. His silence speaks louder than any protest. His gaze cuts deeper than any threat. He doesn't argue. He doesn't explain. He simply acts. And when he acts, the world bends. That's what they never told you. That your emotions are not just vulnerabilities. They're liabilities when unmanaged. The moment you let anger decide your next move, you've already lost. The moment fear whispers into your choices, you surrender your advantage. But when you learn to hold your fire, when you learn to let the storm rage and remain unshaken, you become untouchable. You become something else, something they can't predict. And in a world that thrives on predictability, unpredictability becomes power. You don't owe anyone your reactions. You don't owe the world your emotions. The more silent you become, the more they wonder. And wondering makes them uncomfortable. They want your weakness. They want your outburst. They want confirmation that you're still playing their game. But when you refuse to play, when you sit at the edge of the battlefield and watch their panic unfold without blinking, you become terrifying. That's the truth they don't want you to know. That detachment is a form of dominance, that walking away without explanation can be more devastating than any argument, that disappearing without chaos, without warning, sends a louder message than shouting ever could. Because in silence, you force them to reflect, and most people cannot handle reflection. They cannot handle their own conscience without a distraction. People beg for closure because they cannot close doors themselves. They need you to participate in their drama so they can feel justified. They want you to be the villain so they can be the victim. But when you deny them that role, when you walk out without playing your part, they are left in limbo. And limbo is torture. It forces them to confront the truth, that they were never in control, and that's the essence of true power, making others believe they had it until you decide otherwise. But this kind of power cannot be faked. It cannot be performed. It is not in how loud you speak, or how many eyes you gather. It is forged in solitude. It is built in the nights when you sit with your thoughts and train your mind like a soldier. It is built when you teach yourself not to flinch, not to chase, not to beg, when you remind yourself that your worth is not up for negotiation, when you sever the need to be understood and replace it with the discipline to be feared. Every time you react emotionally to manipulation, you lose ground. But every time you choose silence, every time you withdraw your energy, you reclaim your position. Because energy is currency, and not everyone is rich enough to deserve yours. Especially not those who live on stealing it. There are people who will never love you. They will only love the control they have over you. They will measure their worth by your attention, your reactions, your pain. They will test how much of yourself you are willing to give, and the moment you stop giving, they will call you cold. Let them. They called strength cruelty because they cannot manipulate it. They called silence arrogance because they cannot decode it. They called boundaries selfish because they cannot benefit from them. The truth is, you never needed their validation. You needed their absence. You needed the betrayal. You needed the disrespect. Because without it, you would have stayed soft. You would have stayed naive. You would have kept pouring into people who only came to drain you. You needed to be broken, not to stay broken, but to become unbreakable. You don't sharpen a blade with silk. You sharpen it with pressure, with fire, with resistance. The version of you they tried to destroy is the very reason you became someone they can no longer access. So don't regret it. Don't wish it had gone differently. The betrayal was the lesson. The silence was the message, and the transformation, that was the revenge. And understand this, your healing is not for them. It is not to show them what they lost. It is not to make them jealous or make them chase you again. It is to make them irrelevant, because the true end of a connection is not absence, it's indifference, and indifference cannot be faked. You either stop caring or you don't, and when you do truly, they feel it in their bones. They feel it when they send a message and receive nothing but silence. They feel it when they try to trigger you and are met with stillness. They feel it when their old tactics fail, when their charm no longer impresses. When their insults no longer sting, that's when they know, not because you told them, but because you stopped reacting. That's when the dynamic changes forever. Because once you master the art of walking away, not with bitterness, but with calm certainty, you realize how few people were ever worth the storm you became for them. And when that truth settles in, you begin to move differently. You begin to choose differently. You stop chasing what runs. You stop negotiating with disrespect. You stop arguing with ignorance, because you no longer operate from a place of lack. You no longer seek peace from those who thrive in conflict. You become your own sanctuary, your own validation, your own power source, and from that place, everything changes, not instantly, but inevitably. You start attracting differently. You stop tolerating what drains you. You stop explaining your worth to people who are blind to it. You don't need to prove anything anymore. You are not in competition with anyone. You are not trying to convince anyone. You are simply focused on your path, your mind, your peace. And that peace, that unnerving, unbothered presence, that's what they fear the most. Because in a world built on noise, silence is terrifying. In a culture built on attention, Indifference is deadly. When you are no longer seduced by chaos, you become immune to manipulation. When you are no longer triggered by insults, you become untouchable. When you no longer need to be liked, you become unstoppable. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. Your presence, when cultivated in silence and discipline, speaks volumes. Your boundaries, when enforced with quiet resolve, become law. Your absence, when intentional and unwavering, becomes a weapon far sharper than words. Let them wonder where you went. Let them question why their grip no longer holds. Let them talk. Let them twist the narrative. It doesn't matter anymore, because you don't exist in their world now. You've risen above it. Not with hate, but with clarity. Not with anger, but with purpose.